Hello, and welcome to Minding the Forest, a podcast of the Louisiana Forestry Association. I'm your host, Jeff Zeringue. In Minding the Forest, we talk about how important sustainable forestry is for everyone, how it benefits our economy, and the importance of keeping forests as forests. If you'd like to get notifications when a new episode of Minding the Forest is released, click on subscribe on your favorite podcast directory, such as Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or Spotify, and you'll know when a new episode is ready. We release a new episode of Minding the Forest each month. We have with us Buck Vandersteen, the Executive Director of the Louisiana Forestry Association. We are at the end of yet another regular legislative session, and that's why we've invited you here. Buck, thanks for coming.
Thank you, Jeff, and good day to everybody. Appreciate everyone's interest in what's happening in the legislature, particularly for forestry, agriculture, natural resources, and for social issues that we're all facing. 2022 session was a very unusual session. Unusual because it had a lot of money. It had a lot of federal dollars in the state. It had a lot of state tax dollars coming into the state above what they had originally budgeted. And whenever you have more money in a state for budgeting purposes, that's a time to be very mindful of what goes on, not to get into an embarrassment of riches. And I think legislators realize that. They had money, but they were asking themselves, how do we spend this money wisely? And I think they've done a very good job doing that.
I think the question would be how they did overall, because there is the temptation of having recurring expenses because you have all this money lying around. So let's dive into that. How did they do with the spending?
One thing that impressed me the most is that there did not seem to be as much acrimony among the Democrats and the Republicans as there has been in the past. This is the Louisiana way. Working together, not caring if you're an R or a D, but people looking at what's best for the people, what's best for the state, and what's best for growth and development in Louisiana. Now, how that money is going to be spent, I saw a lot of opportunities there to spend that money on one-time maintenance-related, infrastructure-related projects. Very significant. Most of attention when you're talking about infrastructure, Mississippi River Bridge in Baton Rouge, Calcasieu River Bridge over in Lake Charles, the ports infrastructure. But you realize that 70% of roads in Louisiana are in rural areas. And some of that money has got to get into rural areas so that when a landowner sells timber to a mill, that logger has an opportunity to travel on rural roads safely to get to the mill, hauling legal load weights. So that was done, and we are excited that infrastructure improvements will occur. Also in broadband, very significant moves there to increase broadband availability to rural areas. Today, if you're not connected to social media, to YouTube and TikTok and LFA's email account, newsletters and things like that, you're just missing out on a lot of information.
I guess with the excitement of having bridges or infrastructure addressed, that is a very good thing, especially in rural areas. But you also have to fight the urban areas where a greater portion of the representation is. I guess we ended up on a good side of that. And I realized they did set some money aside for the Mississippi River Bridge in the Baton Rouge area, but the rural communities rely a lot on these bridges. And it's not just loggers. I think it was a recent conversation with Michael Kroll. He was saying that even his foresters have to take different routes, and sometimes it adds to their mileage to get around to do their work. So it's pretty tough on all of us. How soon will that money, because I know government does move slowly, and we have the expectation that, okay, the money's approved, so next week we should see a new bridge, and that's not going to happen. But how long is that process before we could actually see some of that work? And how long before they even name or be able to identify which bridges will be repaired?
Those are very good questions, and a lot of that is left up to the Department of Transportation and Development in allocating those monies and getting those projects underway. It's not unexpected that attention in urban areas with all of the money, you're talking 300 million, billions of dollars that are going in the high metropolitan areas. What the rural areas receive is much less. It's not as attention-getting in the media, but it is critically important for our industry, for agriculture, for people that live in rural areas and all to have this access. And what is ever more important with all these new mills that are coming to Louisiana, the need for rural infrastructure is even that much greater. And these new mills that are coming in are going to employ rural people. It's going to give rural people an opportunity to stay in rural areas instead of moving to the cities or moving elsewhere. So we need to have roads to get to work. If I can't cross a bridge and have to go 60 miles around, and with these gasoline and diesel prices that we have today, just a real problem. Now, I wish the legislature could have addressed the issues of high inflation and high gas prices. It's surprising that Louisiana, as rich as it is in natural resources, oil and gas, and the refining capacity that we have, that the national policy is such that it makes it so much difficult to utilize our resources to make those things happen. And just today, the price of fuel jumped 10 cents from yesterday. And loggers are struggling with this. Landowners are struggling. Heck, employees coming to work are struggling with the higher fuel costs and going to the grocery store and all. Just issues that our legislature could not address because that is far bigger than just Louisiana. But those are some real critical things. But you got to have the infrastructure to make things work.
Will we get as much done as we had hoped to with these higher price tags coming?
That's a very good question. And when you have higher prices for materials, it makes it very difficult to meet the budget of projects. So that's why it's very important to get these projects started, get them moving, and get that money committed and on the ground. Great opportunity for people with jobs, construction work, our mills that are building right now that will soon be employing more people. All of those things. The faster we can get this moving, the better it's going to be for the Louisiana economy, for our state, and to move forward.
What else has come up that affects the forest products industry?
The legislature has just been great on issues affecting agriculture and forestry. The chairman of the House Agriculture Committee, Jack McFarland, is a logger, a great leader in the legislature. Over in the Senate, Mr. Cathy is a strong advocate for agriculture and forestry, natural resources. So all of the forestry issues that we have been concerned with went through very smoothly. Mr. McFarland's bill on allowing the truck permit weights of 90,000 pounds to apply to all forest products from woods to a mill. There was some confusion that the 90,000 permit only applied to logs and not to wood chips coming out of a landowner's property to a mill or pulpwood. Jack McFarland cleared that up, and the legislature supported him in that effort. Also, it was some controversy or some misunderstanding, I would say, with our Department of Revenue on when severance tax is collected when timber is harvested. That was cleared up by the legislature as well. Timber severance tax is based on the first point of sale when that wood crosses a woodyard scale or a mill scale. First point of sale, that's when severance tax is collected. And also, We know that wood is a great solution to our climate issue. Wood sequesters carbon. And Mr. McFarland's bill identifying biomass as friendly to the environment, and to make sure that the state legislature, the state agencies recognize the great contributions that forestry has to climate solutions. Whether or not you think climate is a serious issue, or if it's anthropogenic, or if we can do different things with a political party, look at the biology of trees. Biology of trees is they're pulling carbon in, they're giving off oxygen, they're sequestering that carbon, and now the state of Louisiana recognizes the benefit of wood biomass to finding solutions to removing carbon from our atmosphere. So all very positive for agriculture and forestry and our natural resources.
Does that kind of tie in with what the governor was pushing insofar as his climate change policies that have come up in recent months?
Governor Edwards was very instrumental and a leader in developing a climate change task force. That climate change task force has been working for the last couple of years. Forestry has been involved with that. Robbie Toombs and Kyla Shanae was all engaged in that effort, along with Louisiana Forestry Association, recognizing that forests have a role to play in the climate debate. And look at Louisiana. 15 million acres, more than half the area of Louisiana in forests. We're growing far more trees than are coming out of our forests. Now we have new mills coming in, are attracted to this resource that we have. These new mills are taking that wood, turning it into lumber, sequestering that carbon in the forms of lumber, plywood, OSB, other products, and growing more for future generations. What a wonderful story. And this year, the Louisiana Forestry Association is celebrating its 75th anniversary. When we were organized to reforest Louisiana. We told landowners, look, we need to do this because it's going to help our industry and it's going to help attract industry. Landowners responded, and they did. They grew wood everywhere. And the problem was we were growing too much. And finally, we started to get noticed outside of the state. And a lot of our speakers coming to the LFA convention, and one gentleman in particular, Dr. Brooks Mendel with Forest Consulting, has clients all over the country. And I think his research into the opportunities that we have in Louisiana have been very instrumental in getting these companies to look at Louisiana. So another good reason to participate in Louisiana Forestry Association's convention in August is to learn what these leaders are telling us about the state, helping them understand the resources that we have and our willingness to build our forest economy. But now finally, the opportunities are coming to fruition, where the landowners can see that with these new mills, they're going to have market opportunities. And that middleman, the logger, who is struggling today with high prices, high fuel, labor issues, and all that, quotas, mill inventories, now can see opportunities to expand their business, to be able to supply numerous facilities and just grow their business and keep in the logging business. It is very tough right now for our logging industry. There's so many things that are working against them, but with these new mills coming in, I see great opportunities.
Oftentimes there's a misconception that these new facilities coming in, these new mills will be using more wood, and oh my goodness, you can harvest more trees. You're just trying to cut all the trees out. But for one, it doesn't seem to make sense that you're going to use every last bit of your resource. And for two, Doesn't the use of more wood actually mean the forests are more likely to be healthier?
Absolutely. Working forests require market opportunities. And if people are growing more wood and they see opportunities to sell that wood, they're going to continue in that light. And when you're generating income on the sale of timber to mills, you're able then to invest that in better management of your forest land. So it's a cycle that is extremely important for the landowner. There are groups that say with all of this new interest in wood technology and in biofuels and all of these new mills coming in that we're going to run out of wood. Harvesting is just a small percentage of all of the material that we're growing. And under our best management practices, requirements for reforesting that land after harvest ensures that our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren will have a forest resource long into their future, and maybe even an opportunity to work in one of these high technology, safe and wonderful mills that are operating in Louisiana for a long, successful career and helping grow a family.
What else in the legislature has come up this past session that we were looking at and hoping to have a good result for the industry?
Well, I think in workforce development, there was a strong support for making sure that our training is available. Louisiana Department of Economic Development and their START programs, fast start programs. This is a wonderful attractant to mills coming in that wonder about a labor force. When economic development and even our community and technical colleges want to meet with these new mills and even existing mills and say, what are your needs? What kind of technology do people need that are working in your plant? And community technical colleges, the economic development programs help train those people and get them work ready. So very, very significant, a lot of support to continue that effort. Always education is important. It's not something that forestry gets right in the forefront of, because there's many other groups, teachers organizations and others that are more familiar with the issues. But I see strong support for educating our young people. If people can't read, if they can't communicate, if they can't add 1 + 1, those are struggles that will follow them all the rest of their lives. So early child development, strong support for teachers, and even I believe the state has provided a raise for all of the teachers and the support personnel. So again, all positive, moving Louisiana forward.
Next year is an election year. All the legislators will be up for either re-election. Some may retire, I imagine, and some will be term limited and either seek another office or retire. We will have a new governor. He is term limited as well. It is a long time off. What's sort of the political scene right now as we prep for a big election next year?
Well, we're going to be losing some strong supporters for forestry and agriculture in the next election cycle. Who's going to fill their shoes and where are they going to come from is going to be ever more critical. During an election year, legislators running for re-election don't want to do too many controversial bills to draw attention to them. So next year could be, I'll call it a light legislative session. But all that remains to be seen. Certainly the governor, John Bell Edwards, who is a forest landowner, who does understand our issues, will not be able to run for re-election. He is term limited. Who's going to fill that seat in the next election? There's a lot of exciting things going on next year, and it's not too early to begin thinking about who is going to run, where they're going to run, and for forestry to support them in their efforts. Now, we have a political action council. It's called 4PAC. We're not as large as the business PAC or the union PACs or the teacher PACs and all that, but we're trying to be very strategic in getting people in positions that can be leaders in the legislature and guide other people in what's going on. It takes a lot of people to move our issues forward, and it is great that we have strong leaders that help do that in the legislature.
I think political action councils have a certain positive or negative view from folks. And so I would ask that with these organizations, the intention really is to just have a voice, for them to be able to listen to what's important to our industry. Is that pretty accurate?
If you ask anyone on the street today, what do you think about political action committees, I can almost bet you a steak dinner that they're going to say, oh, they're a bunch of corrupt, evil things. But unfortunately, elections cost a lot of money to do. Advertising, media, reaching out to constituents. And that's where political action committees come in to help people endure or cover the expense of elections. In forestry, we rely a lot on our local people, meeting with candidates, recommending to our board. These candidates are ones that we ought to interview, and we try a very selective process in helping them out and letting them know that we want to see them take leadership positions. But it is a timely, expensive process, but it can also be a very fun process in that you're getting to educate people about our interests. You're getting people that have a willingness at the time of their election to say, tell me about your issues, tell me how I can help you, and building that bridge. There's a saying that before you can pass a truckload of truce, you have to build a bridge. And that's what our Political Action Council tries to do, is build that bridge of trust so that we can communicate with elected officials.
What have we not covered so far?
I think one thing that we ought to talk about is the importance of getting involved in the political process. Oftentimes it's considered a bad thing and not worthy of one's intention, but it is critical. It is critical to know the candidates, to meet with them. We can't do it all from just a central office. We have to rely on our members to give us feedback on people that we ought to talk with and develop into strong advocates for our industry. The other thing that is extremely important is knowledge and information. And I encourage everyone to really consider attending our annual convention this year, the end of August. We're going to be in Lake Charles at the Golden Nugget. We're having a lot of these new mills talk about what their plans are going to be. We're going to have people talking about what our resource looks like and why a lot of these mills are coming to Louisiana, and what additional room do we have for more mills. Plus an opportunity for people to get together after a couple years of staying away from folks. This is going to be a great opportunity for people to come together, catch up on what's happening in our family life and our work life, and to really build more bridges so that we can continue to grow our forest industry.
The political involvement that you mentioned, sometimes it is looking at that as, well, it's a bad thing, but I think the climate is much more difficult. Many good people who seem to have good heads on their shoulders and they have a sincere interest in Louisiana and their communities are hesitant to throw their hat in the ring because of such the immediacy of response via things like Twitter or other social media. So how do we reach those folks and say, you would be good for Louisiana, and not just for our industry, but for their communities, for the state? How do we get to those folks and invite them to be a part of that?
I think the model that Louisiana has of people working together is a good model. And as I said earlier, I did not sense as much acrimony this year between R&Ds as I have seen in the past. And that's the Louisiana way. People working together for the good of the state. Social media can be a blessing and a curse. Anybody can put something on social media and people look at it and say that's the truth. A candidate that is running for office has got to have a thick skin, has got to have a network of people that are monitoring that are addressing issues as they come forward, adding cost to an election process, needing more assistance from PACs and other funding to accomplish all this, to at least set the record and the truth forward. So you've got to take your hat off to the person that wants to expose him or herself to those issues, because it is not easy. It's tough on the family. You really get a sense of, well, I thought everybody liked me, and you find out that maybe 49% did not like you, and but as long as 51% like you, that you can get elected. So it's a special person. It is really and truly a special person that wants to put themselves and their family up for election. But it's necessary. It's good to do that, and then for that person to have a support network behind them. And that's really what we try and do with our relationships with legislators. We say, look, we'll tell you how it's going to affect forestry. We want to be your partner in all of this. We'll tell you, we'll be truthful. We'll tell you the pros and cons of issues, and we want to build a relationship. We want to, again, that bridge. We want to build a bridge so that you know that when we're saying something, that it is truthful.
So anybody who would like to find out more about 4PAC can give us a call at the Louisiana Forestry Association, 318-443-2558. You can visit our website at www.laforestry.com. And if anything... You
can also get involved with our legislative report by just asking to be on the mailing email list for our legislative report.
If you'd like to join or receive our legislative report, you can send an email to lfa@laforestry.com and request you want to be on the list to get those reports. Buck Vandersteen, Executive Director of the Louisiana Forestry Association. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Mind of the Forest, a podcast of the Louisiana Forestry Association. If you'd like to learn more about sustainable forestry, the LFA and its programs, and how you can be part of an organization that supports landowners, loggers, and wood manufacturers in Louisiana, go to our website, www.laforestry.com. Questions and comments can be sent via email to jzeringue, jzeringue, @laforestry.com. And remember, at the Louisiana Forestry Association, we're minding the forest for you.